All right, thanks for staying with us. It's time for us to take a look at the headlines of Nigerian newspapers this morning. Of course, as usual, with us in the studio is a commentator, public affairs commentator, of course, Ayodele Adio. Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
How was it coming this morning? You said the traffic was really terrible.
Oh, yes. And I had to wake up late, so I had to dash.
And it's part of the reason why I'm home alone right now. But I'm hoping that, that won't last for too long. All right, let's begin with a punch. FG, federal government sets up panel to probe 110 Dapchi girls abduction. Chief of Air Staff relocates to Yobe. Do we need another committee to get to the root of this abduction? Well,
it just seems like the more things change, the more they remain the same, and no lessons learned. You would have expected that a post-mortem analysis of the abduction in Chibok 4 years ago, precisely, would have been done by the military hierarchy to ensure that that kind of incidents never reoccurs itself.
What really could have been done? I mean, you hear people say a lot more security should have been provided in all of those secondary schools and all of that. But how realistic really is that?
No, I mean, it's quite realistic. The truth is, you can't police, or if you'd like, soldier every inch in Yobe and Maiduguri. It's impossible to do that. But what you can do is to ensure that setting major wins by the terrorists never occurs again. And the major win is moving 110 girls. You're not going to put them in a single bag and move them. You have to move them in trucks or in buses, in a convoy, to move them from one point to wherever they are going to. So the military hierarchy should have looked at that scenario and said the repeat of Chibok is not going to happen
of that happening again.
I mean, you can't totally eliminate
pockets of abductions here and there,
or pockets of suicide bombings here and there. But what you can avoid is a situation where 100 or 100+ girls are being moved from a point to the hands of
and unfortunately, it took about a week for us to even know the number of girls. The parents of these girls have said, as at yesterday, that they have a list of 105 as opposed to the 110 that government is telling us about. All right, moving on, still with the punch. Death toll in Kaduna communal crisis hits 12.
I mean, I feel saddened each time that I sit here. We always have to express grievances or extend condolences to people who die in our country very needlessly. The headlines today, it's Kaduna. I think yesterday was in Adamawa, where about 40+ people died needlessly. This nonsense really has to stop. I mean, you want to ask the question, what is the value of the life of the typical Nigerian, the average Nigerian?
And based on reports, this is likely as a result of religious
I mean, you see, it's just really sad that we have to go through this cycle of violence over and over again. And most saddening is the fact that it does seem like the police cannot keep the peace in the country. And that's what breaks my heart the most.
And the army is saying it is the job of the police to do.
It is the job. I mean, it's the job of the police. They're supposed to be the first line of defense. They are supposed to maintain communal peace and stability.
But it seems we're expecting too much
from we want the military to do everything, and it's quite sad.
All right, TI's corruption rating, call to work harder, Oshimbajo saying that APC NEC extends Odige Oyegun's tenure. This is at the time when the national leader is actually calling for the dissolution of the National Working Committee and the resignation of Odige Oyegun.
I mean, who's the national leader?
Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The party always argues that there's no position like the national leader. Oh, wow. But of course, a few people have argued that the work that,
the reconciliation
Bola Ahmed Tinubu is supposed to do might, be impeded by, the extension of the tenure of Modiego. But let's see how it goes. I always knew from the beginning that former Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu was going to be riding a donkey, on a hill. So it was going to be a tough job to do to reconcile the party. But let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. The Nation is reporting Air Force deploys 100 jets in search of 110 schoolgirls. It almost seems like too little, too late.
Yeah, almost too late because when you deploy these fighter jets, what usually happens is these terrorists use them as human shields at the end of the day, and so you really cannot attack the positions of these terrorists.
Otherwise, you have
the moment the abduction was done, they already had the advantage because you just cannot move in without risking the lives of those girls.
No tenure extension yet for Yegun. Others. Governor's Forum chair clears the air. What do we make of this? I mean, you know, there's conflicting stories that we read.
I mean, it was a...
You're left more confused.
I think I saw it on the news yesterday where, you know, it was announced on TV that the extension, I think it was the Kogi state governor who even made...
Yaya Bello who
made the announcement that they had agreed to extend it by a year or so.
And now you have the Governor's Forum chair saying, well,
you know, sometimes it's even funny. I mean, it does seem that, you know, the little things tell you, it's in the little things that tell you if people can manage the details. I was shocked that, you know, Governor Yaya Bello was the one to break the news that there was going to be an extension of the tenure. The APC has a spokesperson who speaks for the party, the publicity secretary, Bola Abdullahi. I was shocked he wasn't the one giving that. And in any case, if the NWC wanted to issue a statement and wanted to bypass, you know, the spokesperson of the party, at least the chairperson of the APC Governors Forum should have been the person to also give the announcement. So I was a little shocked that it was Yaya Bello that was giving the announcement. So we just don't seem to understand protocols, and the little things tell you. And it really gets in the way. Exactly, just the little things that we don't handle properly. All right, the Daily Sun is reporting Ebonyi bans herdsmen from other states night grazing. Okay. Oh yeah. So herdsmen coming from across other states are not allowed in Ebonyi. Yeah, probably to graze at night. What does that mean then? Well, I mean, you know, the argument is a little more difficult, you know, to police these issues when it happens at night. They want a situation where, you know, in the daytime, it's easier to track down, you know, these herdsmen or their cattle from one point to the other. And it's a lot more easier to maintain the peace in daytime than at night, where people are asleep and a lot more people are vulnerable. So I think the idea is... And why should anybody be grazing at night, too, come to think of it? Well, I mean, these are cattle, first place. I mean, they are not humans at the end of the day, so... I think the law is... Let's just move on. The Vanguard is reporting over 1,000 houses burnt as Kaduna mayhem worsens. 18 persons arrested as death toll rises to 12. Police recover petrol bombs and other dangerous items, and Senate cautions religious political leaders against hate speech that may just be adding fire to the, or petrol to the burning situation. Let me tell you something. Since 1991, that's the Ryan Bonke crisis in Kano, if I remember correctly, 91 or 92. Between 1991 and 92 and date, which is 2018, that's about 25, 26 years, if I'm not mistaken. I've asked one singular question. How is it possible that a group of bandits will perpetrate mayhem for 3, 4, 5 days, burning houses in thousands, and nothing seems to happen since 1991? So the cycle kept on from 91 to 93 to 96 to 99. And we go on, and people can raise down 1,000 houses. It's really unfortunate. And they are not confronted by any security agency. Right here on the front page of the Vanguard speak louder than any words can. I mean I can't understand. Buses, cars, houses, I'm a all in the name of religion. You know, a wise man once said that the problem is when people fight for their God, the tendency is they kill people. But when God himself fights for himself, the tendency is that people actually transform or are reformed. So why don't you just leave this battle to this God that we say that we actually believe in? Oh yes, I mean, you see, again, I don't, sometimes, I know we like to say it's a religious, no, we like to say it's a religious conflict between the Ifa people and the whatever people, of the Christians and the Muslims. I think it's a bit simplistic. Man is bound to look for one reason or the other to cause chaos. Whether it's for God, whether it's for women, whether it's for farmland, whether it's for property, man is always going to cause chaos. The difference is you put in institutions to prevent men from breaking certain kinds of laws. That's why you have a police force. Or from thinking they can actually do it and get away with it. That's why you have a police force. How do people raise down 1,000 houses overnight and nothing happens? All right, moving on from that one. Akeredolu, of course, as the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu recants on Tinubu's committee. Recall yesterday in the papers, it was reported that Akeredolu said, we don't need Tinubu's peace committee here in Ondo. And our reading into that was, look,
it's peaceful here in Ondo State.
Yes.
So, you know, he can just face elsewhere, maybe Kogi, Adamawa, and other states, or Kaduna, where they really have issues.
Well, I don't think it's as peaceful as the governor is trying to paint, because Kekemeke seems out in the cold.
Yeah,
in Ondo State.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Borough-Face is not recognized by him as
so I
senator.
do not think that it's Uhuru in Ondo State. But if he feels it's fine, no problem. The elections will come around the corner, and he'll be able to deal with the factions in the party in his state. So. All
right, NIMASA projects growth of maritime industry at 5%. We really hope that projection actually becomes reality. Herdsmen storm Makurdi Island, sack 5,000 residents. What exactly is going on?
You know,
like you asked earlier, how is it possible that, you know, a group of people will enter a place and take out as many people as possible, you know, and just nothing happens?
We could chuckle about these things. We could laugh about them casually, but unfortunately, it does seem like
really,
we don't.
Because what else? What are
we
the
don't.
options
We don't realize that we're at the edge of chaos. We're right at the cliff, and we're about to go over.
How can we come back from the precipice then? What's the way out?
There has to be a total reorganizing or reengineering of our security architecture. There has to be a total overhaul. I mean, the mere thought of the fact that 5,000 people can be sacked should send you chills to your spine. It tells you that you're not safe in your own country. And the police, the military, the intelligence community need to do a whole lot more than we're doing today. It's unacceptable that thousands of people can be sacked by a community, by a group of bandits.
Is it not beyond, you know, deploying as many or as much security as possible? How about the mindset that already wants to disrupt the peace? All across the country.
That's why your
what can we really do about that mindset?
The security
of people who feel, look, my neighbor is my enemy, he is my problem.
Your neighbor, you see, listen, the Americans feel the Israelis feel that their neighbors are their enemies. They know all day long that the people they share their borders with are their enemies. So what do the Israelis do? They have a job 24/7 to protect the lives and properties of their people, and they do that job, my God, diligently. So it's no excuse that you have enemies across the border, you have enemies across the state. It's your job to protect the peace and stability of the people. And we don't seem to be doing that. I'm afraid that we are sending a kind of signal to the entire world that our country is so vulnerable that any group of bandits can run into our country and take our people down without any reprimand. And I'm quite sad. How are we supposed to be the big brother of Africa when we can't seem to police the communities under our jurisdiction?
All right, back to the APC issue. APC endorsement. Prophets of doom have been disappointed, says Oyegun, the chairman of the party. Who are the people really who are the prophets of doom in this case?
I mean, I hope that the APC will not be doing an ODA on themselves, scoring an own goal, you know, at the last minute, because they are deeply, and I say this, deeply factionalized in most states in the country.
And it's even more troubling when you hear the national leader, you've questioned who.
Yes, I mean,
the national leader said in his letter to Oyegun that the same reasons why the PDP was booted out seem to be rearing their head in the APC.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
So,
I think the Nigerian doesn't just seem to learn his lessons. Yeah. We don't learn anything from the past.
All right, finally, from this day, FG sets up panel to probe kidnap of Dapchi schoolgirls, releases list of students. Okay, we heard that one already. Buoyed by non-oil sector, GDP sustains growth at 1.92% in fourth quarter of 2017. Very cheering one. Last year's annual growth rate, of course, 0.83%.
Yeah. I mean,
very marginal, but it's still something.
I refer to it as a statistical good news. On paper,
that does not translate
we've done a lot more.
to the lives of the ordinary
man. What we really need, is jobs. Jobs, and more jobs. A lot of people are losing their jobs. The economy needs to create a lot more jobs, and not just jobs that are able to pay the basic bills and necessities of the people in the country. Except that happens, except people have more monies in their pockets, all the statistics mean absolutely nothing to the typical
But you know what? The reality is governments don't create jobs. They
only
provide the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Get the power right, and every other thing will fall in place. Okay, I'm being told we have to quickly move on. That's our last paper this morning. We will of course, bring you back a reminder much later in the course of the show before we wrap. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the agonies that the parents of Dapchi are facing.